Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 7:30 Tech Bits of VR Amazing. We're really excited about today's session. Just a little bit of a preempt of what's coming down the road. R9 Tech Bits is collaborating with Southwest REC out of Deming for next year, and they are going to be doing a similar type of structure with it's called Tuesday Tech Bites. And so the really great thing about this is next year we're going to have even more content for us to choose from. So be on the lookout for that. But for today, we have Mr. Daniel Archuleta with us. Just a little bit of background about Daniel. He was raised, born and buttered in Deming, New Mexico. He finished his high school senior year in El Paso, Texas. He then studied robotics, automation, and how do you say that?
Pneumatics.
Pneumatics, sorry. I was going to do the P, FNF. Anyways, after graduation, this is really interesting. He moved to Phoenix, Arizona and studied culinary arts. And so he was a chef, and but he always had his hands in technology in some way, shape, or form. So, but during the pandemic, like everything else, things shut down and the restaurant business kind of took a dive. So thank goodness he had a background in another interest, an area of interest, and he returned to his hometown in Deming, and Southwest REC is really blessed to have him now. So Daniel, we're excited about today's presentation and looking forward to it. So it's all yours.
Hello again, I'm Daniel. Nice to virtually meet everybody. I have a little nice presentation for you, how to incorporate virtual reality in the classroom. Firstly, what I kind of want to start off with is a quick little poll, if you were to say, to see what experience with VR you actually have prior to this webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and post this link here in the chat. And I am using Nearpod. If you are familiar with it, I have a little snippet on Nearpod later on my presentation, but this is pretty much how I'm going to be starting us off. So to get things started,
Daniel,
yes.
just really quickly, can you repost that in the meeting for everyone? It possibly may have went to just one person.
Ooh, perfect. Thank you. There we go. Let's see. I have one person in so far. Now we have 4. Perfectamundo. So with Nearpod here, if you already see it, it's a nice little platform for lessons. And like I said, I'll be going ahead and giving a quick snippet. Now that I have our poll results. Let's see here. 1, 0, let's go. Two people with no experience whatsoever. Knew about it, but none, and some experience. Perfect. Okay, so hopefully here after my little webinar, we'll have a little bit more comfort. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let's go ahead and get started in this PowerPoint presentation. Okay, virtual reality in education. Here's a little quick snippet about me. Here's my contact info, and let's get her started. So, virtual reality. It is primarily concerned essentially with simulating vision, or in a sense, a whole new universe. To begin off, a headset is worn and there are two lenses placed in front of a screen. These lenses, they're biconvex, they curve around, and they have about between a 45 to even an 80-degree view of motion whenever you're inside the headset. Any engagement from reality is eliminated. It's to imitate a real-world experience utilizing goggles, speakers, handheld wearables. And how these are pretty much made, you have three kind of different types. You have entry level, you have intermediate, and then you have advanced. Mostly intermediate and advanced, you are connected to a device that can support the graphics. So you could have your 4Ks, 2K displays, or even pixelated with old school Nintendo. Augmented reality is parallel to VR, but it has more of a real life feel to it. Augmented reality technology is consistently utilized in sports, overlaying pop-outs, 3D photos, text, graphics. A heads-up display is enhancing real time with contextually appropriate content. So for an example, the most popular one for augmented reality is Pokemon Go. You have your phone, you kind of have like a room and have a little Pokemon on top of it, or when you're shopping on Amazon, how you have some furniture that you want to see how it looks in your room. So you kind of scope your camera and then move it around. That's a version of augmented reality. Typically, it's about 75% physical to 25% virtual, as to where virtual reality is the opposite. Virtual reality versus augmented reality, like I said, they are parallel. They are essentially creating a universe or enhancing your current universe or the real world. So with that, we have a whole bunch of different types of augmented and virtual reality, where we also have a mixed reality. We have more advanced headsets or even common headsets that could be from your phone or an external device that have cameras, so you can be picking up physical objects and manipulating them in the virtual world. So it's a huge combination of different overlays that you can have with virtual or augmented reality. And how to get it, essentially, there's multiple ways. The most cost-effective would be Google Cardboard. So essentially, you can have any scrap material laying around. I made this little headset myself from cardboard, and you can also put your phone in there. So if you see here, you can go ahead and close it up, and then you have the two little holes in there for the phone, and if we can't see it. So, and this is from scrap material laying around in the office. Steam VR is a platform that is slightly more advanced. It does utilize a powerful PC to go ahead and support the graphics. It's its own platform, equivalent to Oculus. And we all know Oculus from Meta, formerly known as Facebook. So that also is another platform. PlayStation virtual reality, that's more aimed for gaming, which this is not about, but it's also an option. And there are a few education games and applications associated with PlayStation VR, and so many other kind of different ones, but predominantly we're going to be more focused on what you see here on the slide. Now this is what we're wanting to get to: altered reality and education. It's not virtual, it's not augmented, it's going to be an altered reality, because there's so many different platforms to go ahead and put this in the classroom for our kiddos to learn. And it could be K through 12, post-secondary, even adults can be utilizing it as well. So let's get her started with Google Cardboard. So first off, we have the Cardboard Design Lab. Cardboard Design Lab, its principles for developing virtual reality or augmented reality experiences. It's a engine where you can completely create your entire world. It is very basic. It's very simple to use. It's not going to be Matrix-esque virtual reality. It's going to be very cartoonish, very pigmented. It's just very fun to play with. Sites in VR. That one's fantastic, especially with history and social studies, or even just visiting different colleges for our juniors and seniors. We could visit famous landmarks in Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, pretty much all around the world. With Google Earth VR, you could pretty much go anywhere in the world with that one. Apollo 15, that one is perfect for science and space. It's going to simulate a moonwalk. It's going to simulate the landing on the moon and also unloading the rover. So Nearpod and Arloon, those two are curriculum based. Arloon apps is on the Google Play Store. So with that, those are paid and free, but they're very limited to 4 topics, essentially. You have anatomy, the solar system, geometry, and chemistry. So that's going to cover some of the base curriculum, but those are specifically Arloon, and there's really no other way to access them with the exception of the portal online and into the Play Store app. Nearpod, I'll be giving a little demo on that one here in a second after we have already experienced our nice little poll. So the caveat to the Google Cardboard, they're limited to smartphone sizes, on average 3-inch screen size to about 6-inch screen size maximum. My personal phone, I have a huge phone, so it's not going to really fit compared to, you know, a small little iPhone here. So it does matter with screen size. There are templates out there to get them bigger, and also a Google Cardboard website. You could order pre-made headsets, but obviously they do have a cost with them. The most expensive one that I saw, maybe $10. But in reality, as much as people seem VR is so advanced, it's right here. You can make it out of cardboard. But with Google Cardboard, if the application needs more than one button, it's not meant for it, because whenever you're on the screen, or whenever you have the cardboard headset on, you really don't have buttons. You're utilizing your phone. So in the templates, I'll show you as well later, you can make a little hole and then go ahead and just tap the screen to process or use a magnet. Here's the material lists. And another thing, probably what you're questioning, how can I get this stuff? Well, typical office supplies, really. You have cardboard pretty much laying around anywhere. 1-inch wide elastic band doesn't have to be 1 inch, but it's just to help maintain the headset over your eyes, or you could just hold it up. The neodymium ring magnet, it's optional. It's not a necessity, really. It just helps to go ahead and control and simulate a click instead of touching the screen physically. The tools, you know, you could have them laying around like the office, like an X-Acto knife, you know, perfect to little holes and squares, tape, stapler, scissors. The template here, this is how it starts off, and you have different sheets to go ahead and cut them out. And then whenever you tape them together, you have pretty much a nice little cutout here that you put on the cardboard, and you trace that out, and then the black lines you cut and the red lines you fold. Scotch tape scissors and pen or pencil. Right here on the screen is an example of the biconvex lenses. Those help simulate and make simulate essentially like the whole virtual reality experience. They have between a 45 to 80 degree vision, so They grab everything around and direct it into your eyes and make it seem like you are in the world. Those you can get from Amazon. I think you have a 4-pack for $10 as well. So everything is extremely cost effective. You'll probably be spending more money on the lenses than the rest of the materials laying around. So moving up to the intermediate VR is Oculus. And if you're a parent and you have a kid that might want VR or already have it, you're very familiar with Oculus. You do need a Meta or Facebook login to access the material because it is all from Meta. So Ecosphere, this one is a fantastic one. You could experience the savannas of Kenya, ancient jungles of Borneo, and then you can swim in Indonesia in the reefs of the Raja Ampat. The mission ISS Quest, life on the International Space Station. You could dock a capsule, take a spacewalk, and get guides from real astronauts. Perfect for Anne Frank House as well. You could take a tour of the real secret annex of the office building where those 8 people were hidden away for over 2 years. You know, so you experience the recreation of what it looked like back then instead of what we have now as the museum. Nat Geo Explorer VR. You know, you could look for a lost emperor penguin colony or visit Machu Picchu and witness the rediscovery of the Incan citadels. You know, so with virtual reality, you could go anywhere in the world and you're still in your living room, wherever you have the headset on. Unlike the Google Cardboard, obviously, there's no necessity to build it. It's already there. You do have essentially 3 tiers of the Oculus. You have the S, you have Oculus, and then you have the Rift in order respectively. So starting off, they're about $200 to $300 for the full headset and experience, but that could essentially be utilized for multiple things. And it's fantastic because once you get into the Oculus and advanced, you can get more art-based applications and games. You could create 4D models, do paints. You could have a canvas in front of you with your controller and make it seem like you're brushing a paint on. And another thing too, I know a lot of physical education teachers do feel left out when it comes with new technology, but hey, I got something for you as well. There are health and wellness apps included with VR as well. My 2 favorite ones are specifically Beat Saber. That one, I'm sure if you've seen any videos, you have like lightsaber looking things and you just kind of swing it at a box with arrows that comes at you to the tempo of music. So that could also be utilized for music teaching as well. You know, so you can have the students developing some sort of rhythm, you know, and also it does get your heartbeat kind of pumping whenever you're in the more advanced songs or move up in difficulty. I myself have put on some wrist weights and played with that as well for a couple of hours. And when I came out, I was exhausted. I was done. Another health and wellness app, I would say, but it's still kind of a game based. It's called Gorn. So it's a very cartoon-esque modeling, but you're a gladiator fighting an arena and you have just a whole bunch of different weapons. You kind of run around the room and swing around. And the harder you swing, the more damage you do onto your opponent. So that's another fun thing too, to get the heartbeat racing. If you have some kiddos that are not interested on running the track, well, hey, this is an equivalent for cardio. So now we kind of have the intro to the intermediate of our virtual reality experience. So advanced virtual reality, this could be secondary, post-secondary, and also just a whole bunch of different real world utilization. When you have advanced VR, you are fully immersed. if you see this picture here, a gentleman is on a treadmill as well. Those require special shoes, and that recreates walking and running, and that actually matches in the game, even whenever you're ducking or anything else. So with these, you have the Valve Index, which is the headset on the right. That is the most recent, up-to-date new technology that just came out for virtual reality. They're more complex and way more interactive experiences. And with that being said, you could have real world simulations. So with this, there's a lot of military training with VR that goes within it as well. If you're going to be a surgeon, there's actual surgery applications where you can do anything from an appendectomy to open heart surgery as well. And these are probably programs that are specialized and prioritized for those specific things. Obviously not open to the public, but they do actually exist. There's also driver's education. There's a driving simulation as well, you know, that has a force feedback steering wheel that you can go ahead and make it feel like you're driving a real car. During the peak of the shutdowns in the pandemic, a lot of pro race car drivers utilize these racing simulations to maintain the practice, because that's how real these simulations feel. You know, there was this one gentleman who won an esports competition, and he received a contract to race in Formula One in real life during the pandemic as well. So there's a lot of real world applications to virtual reality other than just escaping normal reality. So some screenshots here of Mars virtual reality. So this is kind of the desert, the Mars desert in Nevada, a simulation of what it would be like to be on Mars. Right here, you have watering plants. And then in the other screenshot, I know it just looks like something floating in the air. Pristine found a gas can that was empty and just threw it. So you could play with it any way you want. So there's a whole bunch of applications to it. Here's another screenshot. We have a job simulator and recreational room. So job simulator is what we're going to be doing a quick little demo on. There you go. So you have pretty much 4 jobs. You have a mechanic. There's also a a convenience store clerk, a gourmet chef, and also an office job as well. Rec room on the side, that one is perfect. That one's a really nice social and another health and wellness app. You could see here you're training to play dodgeball, but this is an online server. So you could be playing dodgeball, baseball, tennis virtually with somebody else instead of just playing with the computer. So you have that social aspect with it as well. And we all know the past couple of years haven't been that socially fun. So, you know, it's a great thing to try to recreate, especially with about 2 years of lost learning. Google Earth VR, you know, you see here the Statue of Liberty and also the Roman Colosseum. So it's great. If you see the Roman Colosseum, I was bouncing around while screenshots were being attempted to be grabbed, but this is just a quick in the middle of the graphics being shared. So that's a great thing that we have right there. So I'm gonna go ahead here and show you a quick little lesson with Nearpod. So I'm gonna stop my share. I'm gonna get back into a share from something else here in a second. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in another code for Nearpod. And so this is one of my new favorite platforms to be playing with, especially when it comes to creating lesson plans. And here is, again, I sent that to a specific person. There we go. Sorry. So what we have with Nearpod, it's platform where you can create lesson plans or utilize a pre-created lesson plan as well. And they're fantastic, and it's easy, especially now that we're on the tail end of testing this semester. You know, everyone is probably tired, it's early, and we're just like, okay, I want to go ahead and finish up testing, get everything started for the end of year. Oh crap, I have to make a lesson plan. They already have it right here for any topic from anything, you know. So if you are already in Nearpod, we have 2 people and you could play with it. You click on the screen, you're here in Mexico. You know, you have the old temples. The next page over, if you're in, you know, the Acropolis in Greece, which is beautiful renderings from back in the day. There's a different simulation where you can actually see them when they were painted, not just the marble sitting there. Next here, we have a plant cell cut up, you know, so this is perfect for any curriculum. You have all elective classes as well as your cores too. So it's not just specifically made for elective classes or fun. There's definitely a lot of tools and utilization for augmented reality and virtual reality. Another plus with Nearpod, they do have an application on the Google Play Store and the Apple Store as well. So you put it on your phone and you put that code in, and in the lesson, you can go ahead and pop it into your Cardboard VR headset. And whenever the kiddo is looking at it, they just tilt their head. And the sensors, the tilt sensors that are already built into your phone are going to show where you are in the virtual space. And that's just the phone technology utilizing what's already built in. So that's a fantastic thing as well. You have the accelerometer sensors in there. You know, whenever you have your phone in your pocket, how it counts your steps, those are the sensors that it utilizes. So that's another thing too, where you think you don't have the VR, but it's in your pocket. It's a little microcomputer. And here we have the Parthenon. Sorry, that's a tough word for me to say. A 3D rendering of it. So Nearpod is completely fantastic. We have an oil refinery right here as well. You know, and Nearpod doesn't just have virtual reality stuff. They all the full curriculum, videos. Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo. You know, they have some specific K-12 lesson plans for a quick little Cinco de Mayo thing as well, if you want to go ahead and check it out yourself. So everything in a sense when it comes to technology, all the tools are out there. For me, virtual reality and augmented reality is just a lot more fun because it's more interactive and it does kind of feel almost like second nature, because when you're holding the controls in your hand, you actually grip them and squeeze them to pick up the object in the space. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here now is screen share our live demonstration. So with that, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you who is in it, but it's going to be Christine, but you are going to see what she is seeing inside the headset. So just give me one quick second to go ahead and get this screen share started. Perfect. So you see here, apologies again. I do have the computer connected directly to Ethernet. You're gonna have a little lag. And then you could see here, let me go ahead and get some things off the screen so you could see a little bit better. So you can see here, trying to pick up the little cassette so you could have a job simulation. Throughout the past couple of weeks, I've actually had a few of my colleagues come in and try this job simulation and a couple of other applications so they can see what it actually is like to be in a virtual reality world, especially if you haven't had the opportunity to try it, you know? Unfortunately, you're not going to have audio and you're going to have a little bit of a laggy video, but this is what it's like. So we're an auto mechanic. So you're pulling down the chain whenever the car is ready. This is also going to teach our kids, it is a game, but at the same time, they have real world tasks in a sense that are parallel. You know, it's going to teach them responsibility. It could teach them a work ethic, a sense of ownership as well. You know, real life skills that don't have lesson plans to them or anything else. It could just be something to get them involved in, and whenever they learn something or have that aha moment, that's the best part, you know. And anybody can use it in the classroom. Really, there's multiple layers and multiple different things that you can do with it for the classroom other than the typical consumer end user video game fun or a distraction. I myself, even getting prepared for this webinar, have learned so many other things outside of just being an end user myself. So there's a lot of applications, a lot of things that you can utilize it for. And it's just fun. And that's the kicker. It's just fun. And if you can make learning fun, why not, right? So here we have on the screen your little pick aparts, pull the chain when the cars are going to be coming up. You have a little trash can there. Whenever you make an object into that trash can, you have a little fun explosion, confetti, and stuff like that. So it's amazing, you know. It's fantastic for just normal utilization, education utilization, or even just a quick escape from the week. So while this little live demonstration is happening, I would like to see if there's any questions, comments, concerns, pontifications, if you have any. The menu button, the one underneath the pad. Yeah, that one. Maybe look around. 1 second, technical difficulties, because there's one amazing safety feature I want to show you.
So while Daniel is doing that, I did list at one time, Region 9 was interested in doing this with our career and technical program, our work-based learning initiatives. And so we did actually look into this company called Transfer or TransFRVR, I don't know, transfervr.co. And so I've left that contact information. Just know that everything's set up and ready to go and very technical, but it comes with a high dollar cost. So, but if you have budget to spend for next year and you're really interested in doing it, there's an option for you.
Yes.
And Jacqueline Denton has applications of using with students with disabilities, for instance, if they only have movement of their head and want to participate in art sports, is there alternative access participating and interacting for students with disabilities, Daniel?
So for students with disabilities, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. Virtual reality does simulate a real world, and it is very interactive. the Google Cardboard is the simplest aspect with it. If they could turn their head, that's essentially the most. If you can't hold a controller, you won't be able to be interactive with the programs, unfortunately. So there is a lot of physical aspects behind it, but that is a very great question. It would only be Google Cardboard if they only have range of motion in their head or partial motion with it as well. That's essentially the only way that that can be remediated, unfortunately.
The other thing is they could kind of partner like you guys are too. You can plug them into with a friend, and they could kind of follow along and maybe verbally direct. That would be another option that I just, I don't know.
Exactly.
But yes, if they have range of motion in their head, like Daniel was saying, they can totally do this.
I would assume too, if because we use some switch access things here at our district for our students with disabilities. So I'll have to look into that, but I think there might be a slight workaround. Like Daniel was saying, it probably won't work quite the way that you would think it would, but we might be able to come up with something. So if we ever do, we'll let you know.
Glad to hear that. Yes, so now let's go ahead and see, Christine, if we can get that safety feature on. Oh,
What I wouldn't do to see Christine doing this live. Christine, turn on your camera.
I could move the camera around.
There she is. Yay. Good job, girl.
Okay, perfect. It's not coming up on the screen. So one awesome safety feature that I kind of wanted to highlight, unfortunately, technical difficulty. I love it. Everything was working fine yesterday. So on the more advanced headsets for Oculus, the intermediate, the advanced side of it, they have little cameras on the external anterior part of the headset. So front-facing camera. So whenever you're in the menu, a little screen pops up where you can actually see where you are in the real world. So, let's say you're in virtual reality, speaking from experience, a nephew or a child comes running in and you're mid-swing doing something and a little bonk happens, menu, turn it on. I mean, obviously, naturally, you can take off the headset, but there's safety features with it, so you can actually see inside the room where you are in real world physical space. But yeah, so I'm glad you all came and participated. Again, if there's any other questions, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my other screen. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel. Does anybody have any questions? Here's your chance, or anything that you'd like to share with your experiences that you've used with VR previously. That's why we're here, is just to have an open conversation and support you in any way we can.
I'll throw something in the chat here. We had a company, you may have heard of them. It's called Z-Space. They came. Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't do that to everybody. Change that here. There we go. They came to our district 2019, I think. Huge,
Nice.
like almost like a tour bus. And you go inside and they had, I think, like maybe 15 different little stations that you could go to. And basically, I'll share my screen here really. Oh, I can't share screen. Anyway, just go to that link there. And when you
I can
open
turn you on if you want to do that. Are you sure?
No, it's okay. Yeah. But
Okay.
basically they have like this little pen and you can click on a couple buttons. It takes a little while to get used to, but they had like different things where you could go in and you could like take apart like a car engine. It would like explode the view, and then you could grab different pieces and start putting things back together. probably very expensive. They interacted with our IT department, and I'm thinking they probably saw what the price tag was and said, yeah, we're going to wait. But I just want to let everybody know about that, because that's like the coolest stuff I've seen in person so far. And if you haven't checked it out, you might want to inquire.
That's great information. Thank you, Mitchell. Yeah, and like I said, I included the other company, but again, when we had the grant dollars to do this, and then of course it went it went in another direction, unfortunately, but those dollars had to be utilized somewhere else. But we were thinking about purchasing this for all of our school districts. So when they do the work-based learning initiatives, they can go in with this, it's software, it totally has the VR, like maybe 20 or 30 to a set. And then, you learn how to set it up. And it was very, very cool and very easy. But again, I was looking at like 20,000 for, a case, one case. So just depending on that, but it's definitely, I mean, if you have some dollars to utilize, it's great. It's a great resource. And if not, I think today we learned from Daniel some really, really down to earth options for our school districts. So it's not something that can be as like, oh, we can't access it if we don't have the equipment. No, there's workarounds. Of course, it's not going to be of the same caliber, but there still are workarounds, and there's still opportunity to expose our students to this new type of technology. So any exposure is good exposure, right?
Exactly. And again, to iterate, the most cost-effective one I made from scrap with office supplies laying around. So so there's always going to be, oh, I can't do it. Yes, yeah, it's possible. Can't have you had to have the can-do attitude behind it.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop recording if that's okay, Daniel. But thank you so much. Great presentation. And everyone, thank you for coming and your questions.